tonight. These and many more will be yours after the short time out. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, of course I told you, we'll bring you the latest revolving round the beautiful world of sport this morning. And joining me to do justice on the show is a veteran sport journalist down here in Nigeria, Mr. Peter Abaje. Good morning to you, and welcome to Sports Talk.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Pleasure to be with you on the show this morning.
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Abaje. Let's quickly move down as we take a look at the latest coming from handball this morning as a Nigerian handball team defeated Ethiopia to continental semi-final. The Nigerians on the 18 handball team, had to get past Japan 47-31 at the ISF Trophy Africa Men's Continental Phase in Addis Ababa yesterday. After winning their first match against Zambia over the weekend, the team led by coach Emeka Namani met an Ethiopian side spurred by the fans, but they continued from where they left off for the previous day as they scored the late all 4 goals as the first half ended 25-16. Second half saw Ethiopia improving as they started shooting better in the first minutes for the half, but Nigeria's goalkeeper Samuel Obabori put in an MVP performance once again, just as he did against Zambia with vital saves. While the outscored players continued to outscore the hosts to win 47-31. Obabori was rightly awarded the most valuable player for the match. Mr. Abaje, of course, the Handball Federation down here in Nigeria continue to put smiles, on the faces of Nigeria. This is another impressive, victory for them. What do you make of, the progress and the growth to say for the Handball Federation down here in Nigeria?
Impressed with the performance of players. Of late they have shown brilliantly on the continent of most especially age grade basketball competition. We can only the growth of the game in the country when these guys to up the game at the senior level. It is not enough to do pretty well at the developmental stage where you find like a million stars. Their performance begin to take experience and dive. So for me, a good thing that at least the first time in a long while we've seen our handball teams participate in major competitions on the continent of Africa regularly, instead of having them to train and not having the opportunity to play against the players on the continent.
All right, I think we have to see how to resolve a little bit of a technical issue down here. Mr. Abaje, we'll get back to you, but we have to take a break now. Well, we'll come back from the break. I'll take a look at the situation of things in the Athletic Federation of Nigeria as the federal government panel has indicted 2 AFN officials in the omission of Favor Ofili over the omission of Favor Ofili's name and the Paris Olympic game. We'll take a look at that when we return from this short break. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back as the Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Of course, we have to go on that break just to make sure we serve you better right there. But we have to take a look at, athletics this morning as we hear that a ministerial committee established by former Sport Minister John Eno has uncovered serious administrative failings within the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, including the inactions of officials that led to Favour Ofili's non-registration for the women's 100 meters at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Recall that Team Nigeria had a disappointing outing at the 2024 Paris Olympics, winning no medals and facing multiple controversies during the Games. The most significant controversy was Favour Ofili's exclusion from the women's 100 meters race despite her qualification, as her name was omitted from Nigeria's official entry list due to a lapses between the Athletic Federation of Nigeria and the Nigerian Olympic Committee. Now, in the report released yesterday, Mini Alo, the chairman of the committee, presented the findings and recommendation resulting from their investigations. Now, the committee stated in its findings, conflicting evidence showed that the omission of Ofili's name is traceable to any of the following organizations: Athletic Federation of Nigeria, Nigeria Olympic Committee, World Athletics, and the International Olympic Committee. Now, Rita Mosundi, the Secretary General of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, and Samuel Onikoku, the Technical Director, were recommended for sanctions due to their roles in favor of Ofili's omission from the 100 meters event. In its recommendation to the government, the panel stated of Onikoku, the Technical Director of the Federation, Samuel Onikoku, should be sanctioned by the Athletic Federation of Nigerian Board, of which he is a member. Onikoku is being recommended for sanction for not reporting the hints and rumors he heard regarding Ofili's non-registration for the 100 meters event, reflecting his poor judgment in the matter. And the Secretary General of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, Rita Musindi, was also recommended for sanctions, and the panel stated the Secretary General of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, Rita, should be penalized by the appropriate authority for negligence in her duties. Now, she was unable to provide convincing evidence to the committee to support her claim that she submitted important documents relating to the registration of the athletes, Favour Ofili, in the 100 meters to the National Olympic Committee. Now, the committee recommended that the Athletic Federation of Nigeria compensate Ofili with 8 million naira for the disappointment and depression she experienced due to her omission from the event. Mr. Abaje, what do you make of this development, as a stand? Two officials from the Athletic Federation of Nigeria are to be sanctioned due to the omission of Favour Ofili's name in the Paris Olympic Games 200 meters event.
Kudos to the work done by the committee set up by the former Sports Minister, Senator John Eno. And but again, for me, if Nigeria were to be a sent client, the ideal thing for the two officials found guilty is to honorably exit office, and the sanction recommended by the committee was also not spelled out. whether a 3-month suspension, 6-month suspension, financial suspension, as the case may be. We need to look at what the rule book of the Athletic Federation says when an official, an officer, is involved in such default at this level, because it was a huge disappointment and embarrassment to Nigerians that one of the star play athletes, Favour Ofili, name was omitted from the 100 meters list at the Paris Olympic Games, and Nigeria came back empty, from the track and field. A decent job by the committee, but they would have taken it a step further by recommending what type of sanction should be meted out to these defaulting officials of the AFN.
Just like Baji said down there, the punishment, of course, should be meted out, at this point in time. But the thing is, they have actually found these people guilty of the disaster we saw at the Paris Olympic Game. 8 million naira compensation for Favour Ofili, Mr. Baji. You think that's enough? Taking a look at, the way she was mentally, drained due to what, really happened to her in Paris.
I would have also recommended something better than $5,000, equivalent of 8 million naira. What was the reward for a gold medalist? Because I would have assumed that as a star athlete, she would have won a gold medal for Nigeria, even if some persons think that would have been a tall order expecting such from Favour Ofili, because such fine or compensation fee, fine on the part of the AFN officials and compensation for Favour Ofili will go a long way to tell future officials that it is no longer business, as usual. The gold medalist would have taken home about $15,000, and if you had also compensated Favour Ofili with that amount of money, it will send a signal that the AFN, the authorities in Nigeria, are no longer what they used to be. If you do well for the country, you're going to be adequately compensated or rewarded, as the case may be. And if an official fails to do well, he or she will face this and that level of a sanction or penalty, as the case may be. So for me, $5,000 not too good for our compensation. You can imagine the embarrassment that our omission brought to Nigeria. The most populous black nation on the face of the earth is what we are talking about. And your star athlete was nowhere close to the starting block of the 100 meters. And it also affected her performance psychologically, even in the 200 meters event that she ran for, because we had expected her to progress beyond the level that we saw her progress at the Paris Olympic Games.
All right, let's just keep our fingers crossed and see what comes off. We just told you that 8 million naira has been put up as compensation for Favour Ofili, and as well 2 Athletes Federation of Nigeria officials this time. They've been sanctioned for probably not not doing their job right, at this point in time. And let's see, of course, what the punishment will be at the end of the day. Mr. Abaji, we don't, the sport ministry was scrapped a few days ago, and now we have the National Sports Commission that will be led by Shehu Diko at this point in time. And he's talked a lot, in terms of sport development in the country. He said he wants to focus on developing the sporting infrastructure in the country, and as well, go down in terms of grassroots sport development, and also making sports a money-spending venture. And he said something to Nigerians that we shouldn't expect, laurels when we go for international, tournament, especially the Olympic. He said that we shouldn't expect much come the 2028 Olympic Games. What do you make of Shehu Diko as the chairman of the National Sports Commission, and of what he has put in place? You think what we've been seeing, especially the abysmal outing we've been seeing at the Olympics, will reduce going forward?
Well, I think he has started pretty well. I do hope that it will have all of the support from the federal government to implement his blueprint. Don't forget that when Diko was consulting for the House of Representatives a few years ago, he was amongst those that drew up a framework for sports development in the country. But unfortunately, we have ended up appointing our politicians to champion the cause of the sports ministry until recently. He's a technocrat. He's been around sports for some time, telling Nigerians not to expect magic, miracles, floodgates of medals at the 2028 Olympic Games is the way to go. So he's also telling Nigerians right now that my program will not be a one-year program, a 6-month crash program like it has always been. It is going to be a holistic 4 years or 8 years program, as the case may be. And I just wish that Diko will be part of the Federal Executive Committee, because that will make it easier for him to drive home his policy at the ESCO meeting, and also convince ESCO, convince the presidency why XYZ is needed to be implemented, to be provided for Nigeria to once again become the giant of Africa in sport in its entirety. A few years ago, we were a dominant force in boxing, dominant force in weightlifting, and some of the combat athletes, combat sports, I beg your pardon, in track and field. But today, we have lost relevance in where we were making big statements years ago, except for wrestling, because of the individual effort of the president of the Nigeria Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali. Look at track and field today. Go to the African Games. It is Nigeria first, second, third in the 100 meters event, male and female. Nigeria will do same in the 200 meters event. Nigeria will also dominate the 400 meters event for male and female, 4x1 for male and female, 4x4 for male and female. But today, we have countries in West Sub-Saharan Africa are competing with Nigeria for medal position. We have countries in southern part of Africa competing with Nigeria for medal position in the sprint event. We also have countries today in the eastern part of Africa rubbing shoulders with Nigeria for the available medals on the continent in the sprint event, male and female. It does show that we have lost touch with reality. It does show that statement, not just in the Commonwealth of Nations, but also in the global community. Where was the last time as dominant as Nigeria was yesterday, made a statement in the Olympic Games to the medal or the World Athletics Championship? We've seen athletes from Namibia, Frankie Fredericks, dominated the space in 100 meters, 200 meters of the continent, even won medals at the global community and I think the Olympic Games. We've also seen recently a Botswana athlete winning gold at the Paris Olympic Games. We've seen Maria Talou of Cote d'Ivoire, doing pretty well, where it mattered most for our country, while our counterparts from Nigeria fell like a pack of cards. So good initiative by Diko, telling Nigerians not to expect anything from the 2028 Olympic Games. If we must win medals, then we should look at the 2032 Olympic Games. Diko needs to bring his program for the next 4 years, for the next 6 years, for the next 8 years, as the case may be, to the grassroots. And where do I expect him to take it to at the grassroots? It is the various sports commissions for states that have sports commissions today. And for those that have sports council, liaise with the director of sports at the various sports council and sports commission at the state level. Share your ideas with them and convince them, why you think this will work if the entire country told that part. The moment he's able to convince them, you'll see whatever he's trying to do at the center being replicated at the state level, and from the state level it will trickle down to the local government level. If this is not done, then his efforts will be an exercise in futility. And also, it needs to start thinking of how to meet with state and governors across the country on the need for them to reconstruct or renovate their existing sports in edifice, and look at states that have a comparative advantage in one sport over other areas. Let them concentrate on that particular area, develop the facilities there, and also he did mention that he's going to embark on capacity development, and I want to believe he's referring to coaches and technical assistants and administrators, not just at the center but at the state level. We need to see introduction of sports science into our coaching methodology at the state and local government level. If this is done, facilities upgraded to acceptable standard, and also adequate funding from the federal government, which will go a long way to attracting investment from the private sector. I think Nigeria should be able to make, a stable statement, not just on the continent, but in the global community in another 6 years.
All right, Mr. Baji, that was, of course, a very insightful one. What do you make of it? We understand he has a short time. Is working under the current, government, which have about, I think, 3 years before this particular tenure, of course, will elapse. The space of 3 years, you think he can be able to achieve all of this? Because we don't know if he's going to continue. Eventually, this current government, of course, continues.
Well, not much can be achieved if you want to develop sport in 3 years. Not much can be achieved, but a whole lot can be achieved, within 4, 5, 6 years. It doesn't matter whether this administration is going to be, peradventure this administration does not have a return in 2027. If he starts well today, I want to believe that whosoever that will take over from him will certainly continue from where he has stopped. And if he starts well, and we're beginning to see the results across board from the local states to the center, whether be it PDP government or APC government or Labour Party or whatever party that wins the election at the center, they will want to continue with him because of the progress he has made. And don't forget that sport, it's not politics, and if you must shine, you must have somebody in goal. And for the first time in a long while, we have every right-thinking individual or leader in or made something very good, on ground or on the table. Showdiko should not be bothered about what should happen in 2027. What should concern him is what he has to do right now to get Nigeria on the path of progress. He knows too well that this is not going to be a 6-month program or a 1-year program. He has told himself that it is going to be, it is going to be 6 years program, 8 years program, as the case may be. So let's work with the program he has set out to achieve for himself. And whatever he has set out to achieve must also be in black and white for his lieutenant to also read. In fact, they should have a mission statement right now and also have a vision statement as it case may be, so that everyone that walks into his office, that walks into the office of the director of sports at the state level will understand that this is what we have to achieve in the next 4 years, in the next 5 years, and everybody will work with that vision. And before you know it, Nigeria will get that groove back once again.
All right, Mr. Baji, we really do appreciate your time with us this morning. It was really, insightful. Thanks very much for joining us this morning. I know you're a very busy man, and I have to let you go at this point.
My pleasure, bro.
Thank you very much. All right, sir, we look forward to the way forward when it has to do with sport development. Shehu Diko, the man at the helm of affairs at StarTimes. Brother Michael joins us this morning as well, and Michael, you're welcome to the show. I know, of course, you followed us while we're talking about sport development down here in Nigeria. We're talking about the case of Favor Ofili. Name, her name was omitted at the Paris Olympic, and we hear that 2 athletic of Federation of Nigeria officials they have been sanctioned this time around. But the sanctions were not spelled out, and at this point in time, 8 million naira as compensation to Favour Philly, was it really enough? What do you make of this development?
First, Kingsley, thanks for having me this morning on the show. But let me start by saying that for me, I think it is a great work done so far by the committee that was set up to unravel the crisis that actually rocked Team Nigeria in the Paris Olympic Games, that actually made us to perform abysmally the tournament or the competition. I think for me, we must all commend the panel, having come up with something tangible, having come at least now, Nigerians can lay hand on someone that they can say, okay, these are the people that were responsible for some of the failures, some of the lapses that Team Nigeria suffered in the Paris Olympic game. You know, so for me, that is the first point of call, that we've been able to unravel those that is behind the scene for some of those lapses that we encountered. Secondly, the punishment not spelled out proper in a black and white, so that we can possibly say, okay, maybe if you are the secretary of the AFN and you fail to do your bidding, you have been suspended for 2 years and you have been fined 50 million naira, for example. That has not been spelled out specifically, but then we've actually noted names, specific names, cardinal office holder that were responsible for some of the lapses. I think that is one thing we must also commend the committee that was set up to unravel that crisis issue, what led to it. Then again, the second point, 8 million naira to be given to Favour Philly. For me, 8 million naira, is that enough for the emotional trauma that she passed through? Of course, going to the hospital right now to do some, comprehensive checkup alone, not to talk about emotional issues. I mean, 8 million naira cannot take you to a standard hospital for you to totally, have a total health check when it has to do with mental issue. Then again, the 8 million naira, is it to compensate Favour Philly for not winning a medal? Because who knows whether she might have won us a medal if she has taken part in the 100-meter, because she was blazing on. She was, in fact, one of the names that we were tipping alongside Tobilola Amosun to be the two names that at least can give something, that can give Team Nigeria something to cheer. So for me, I think the 8 million naira is too little compared to the emotional trauma, the pains. Do you know what it means? It took her years, 4 good years to prepare. And I
spent a lot of money.
A lot of money. What is 8 million naira? How much does she pay to her personal physio or even her normal coach? For the period of these 4 years that she was preparing. So for me, I think 8 million naira is too paltry for the pains that the officials actually caused Favour Philly. But then, moving on, it goes beyond sporting out some of these people that were behind Nigeria's failure. But then we should actually see, be able to see the authority while the big stick against some of these individuals, so that it will serve as a deterrent to others, so that when you are given a position of trust, you can be rest assured that indeed you are going to carry out your function, because that you are given a very key and a juicy position doesn't mean that you should use it or the way you like. I mean, the people trusted you, and that is why they gave you that position. Instead of working for the benefit of that position, you are working against the benefit of that office which you are occupying, which for me I think is very, very bad. But then I think moving on, there should be spelled out a specific penalty so that posterity will record it down, that in so year, so people failed, they faltered in the responsibility given to them to discharge, and they failed in it. These were the sanctions that were meted to them. We can use it as a precedent, in future, to also judge others that may want to toe the same line. But if we leave it very blank and very vague right now without specifying a specific punishment for these individuals, then it left much to be desired.
All right, let's keep our fingers crossed and see how this one, of course, will go going forward. Away from that, let's take a look at, Some matters in the beautiful world of tennis, Aryna Sabalenka became the first player to secure a semi-final spot at the WTA finals as she defeated a resilient Jasmine Paolini in straight sets. Top seed Sabalenka won 6-3, 7-5 in a victory that also confirmed Elena Rybakina's elimination from the season-ending tournament in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Michael, what do you make of it? Aryna Sabalenka looking very unstoppable at the moment.
True, looking very, very unstoppable. You know, yesterday you and I were discussing right here in the studio. We are talking about if she actually has what it takes to maintain this standard so that she can be able to maintain her #1 ranking, because we also understand that Iga Swiatek is breathing down her neck, and the point disparity is not that much. And we're saying if she can remain consistent, you know, maybe, just maybe, she can maintain her #1 ranking, and she's showing that readiness that indeed, come on, I'm very, very serious. I'm very consistent. I think I can maintain my #1 spot going forward. And this is the statement, you know, that she was able to display out there on the court when she actually had the better of her opponent. So for me, I think it's an impressive display. Let's hope that she can continue in this form, possibly, you know, finish the season on a very high note.
A very beautiful Sabalenka, of course, you will say down there, putting up a very impressive performance down there. Kazakhstan's Rybakina was beaten 7-6, 3-6, 6-1 by Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen for her second defeat at the finals, and required a Paolini victory to keep her hopes alive. But a gritty win over the Italian, which saw her save 2 set points, put Sabalenka one step closer to sealing the maiden WTA finals title, as well as the year-end world #1 ranking. Should she defeat Rybakina in a final purple group match comes tomorrow, the Belarusian will remain top of the standings into 2025, out of the reach of Iga Swiatek. Now, in the orange group, Jessica Pegula will face Barbara Krejcikova today before defending champions Swiatek plays Kokorov. That promises to be an exciting encounter, Michael. Iga Swiatek against Kokorov.
That is a very massive encounter. Cory Kokorov out there, though not been able to live up to that standard this season for me. She has always been trying her best, but then her best, you know, wasn't good enough for this season because she failed to win any major. And for Iga Swiatek, like we said earlier, she will be hoping to bounce back to reclaim her #1 spot out there that have been, you know, taken by, you know, Sabalenka, which for me, I think she has what it takes. But it promises to be a very big clash between Iga Swiatek and Cory Kokorov. But take a look at their form right now, putting that side by side against each other. I think Iga Swiatek, you know, will be highly favored to nick this one on the board.
All right, let's talk football this morning as Emmanuel Amunike is in celebration mode. As, of course, he was very, very happy with that away win over the weekend for Heartland FC. They got a 2-goal victory against Abia Warriors in the Oriental Derby. Michael, how long will this celebration last?
Let's hope it's going to last for at least the next 2 matches that they're going to play. But then I think it's a beautiful one. Of course, you should understand why he's so elated and excited that they won their first away, you know, game, taking all 3 points against you know, their opponent out there. Because you take a look at how things have panned out for them so far this season, it has not been an easy one. But then we hope that this celebration is going to stand a test of time in their next, you know, week 11 fixtures.
All right, let's quickly bring you this one. Things probably, will I say, going well for Arsenal or not going well, as we hear that the director of the team, Edu, has resigned from his role as Arsenal sporting director. The Brazilian rejoined the Gunners as technical director in summer 2019 before being promoted to sporting director in November 2022. Edu, who's 46 years, played for Arsenal between 2001 and 2005 and won 2 league titles, with one coming as part of the invincible team of 2003 and 2004. And the former midfielder was heavily involved in bringing manager Mikel Arteta to the club, with Arsenal winning the FA Cup at the end of Arteta's first season in charge. White Major Silverware has eluded them since, working alongside the Spaniard. Edu has been widely credited with helping to transform the club back into genuine title challengers. Michael, What do you make of this one? What could be the reason for his resignation?
We don't know yet. Maybe as time goes on, we'll get to unravel the secret or the reason behind Edu's resignation. But I think from other different sources we hear there are certain, football, stakeholders or certain football enclave that also want to get his signature. I don't know, maybe that is the reason he's decided to pen down his resignation. But I tell you, it's going to be a very big blow to Arsenal, because since he came on board in 2019, you may say, yeah, they have not won the league since then, but then we've seen a bit of improvements as Arsenal has become a genuine title contender over the last 2 years or thereabout. And you take a look at the recruitment process that Edu have done under Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, you want to say, yeah, some of those names are beginning to gel. In fact, they are the key or fulcrum players for the Arsenal Football Club, the likes of Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, name them. So these are some of his contributions so far. I mean, away from that, you may want to say, yeah, Arsenal have not won a major silverware, but then there is hope for the future because according to Arsenal, they will go again next season.
All right, so away from that, UEFA Champions League football returns tonight as PSV and Devon will lock arms against Girona, and as well Slovan Bratislava will be national against Dynamo Zagreb, Bologna against Monaco, Borussia Dortmund against Sturm Graz, we'll see Celtic against RB Leipzig, Lille against Juventus, Liverpool against Bayer Leverkusen, and Real Madrid will lock arms against AC Milan. Sporting Lisbon will be national against Manchester City. Real Madrid, AC Milan, Michael, what do you make of that encounter tonight?
I think Real Madrid will be fired up for the fact that they lost their El Clasico against Barcelona in same stadium, Bernabeu, a few days ago. And then again, the disaster that happened at Valencia that made them not to play their La Liga games over the weekend. I think with all of this, Carlo Ancelotti would demand a response, from their 4-0 bashing of Barcelona against his players tonight. And of course, I think for me, they've kept a very strong record at home in the UEFA Champions League, the European Football Club out there. Since the last time Madrid lost at home, it dated back in 2002. They have gone all the way to play 15 games without losing any in the European competition at the Bernabeu, and the history will continue to speak for them. On the other hand, AC Milan, they are not in the best of form so far this season. They've actually lost 2 of their UEFA Champions League place and seated above 24th position, which below rather 24th position, which is looking likely they might not make it through to the round of 16 as it is right now. But then this is not what football is all about. Many times we've seen so many surprises out there, but then it's going to be a very big clash because don't forget, these 2 teams holds the highest record of the highest winners of the coveted UEFA Champions League. 7 and 15.
All right, let's see how it goes. We'll make a return by 5 p.m. We'll take a look at the fixtures, and one of the exciting fixtures is the game between Liverpool and Bayer Leverkusen. Also take a look at that, so we'll return by 6 p.m. For Sport Extraordinary. Do want to join us. It promises to be an exciting one. We have to call it a wrap at this point in time. Don't forget, you can go down to different social media handles. The conversation, of course, continues right there. Special thanks to Mr. Abaji and Michael for doing justice on the show this morning. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.